real estate, money, and the law. This is The Experts on AM 670 KMZQ, a show that talks about the issues that hit home and matter to you. Welcome to the Richard Husel Real Estate Hour, where you get the latest information on what's hot and what's not in one of the most volatile real estate markets in the country, Las Vegas. Join the conversation by calling 702-866-6700. This is the Richard Husel Real Estate Hour on AM 670 KMZQ.
We're live on the Las Vegas Strip, right in the shadow of Mandalay Bay. We've got familiar voice Jim Dallas from the Kevin Walsh Show, our producer on our show. Normally, I say I've got Brian Ichikawa at the RatePro.com. He's on vacation in California. Got my buddy, a longtime buddy, agent on the Richard Husel team, co-hosting with me, Ray Branham. How are we doing, man?
Doing good. How you doing?
So, because I didn't have I didn't have Brian, we were going to have Todd Barrett, who was the personal contractor for Foley, who owns the Golden Knights, did his $32 million house. He's going to be the contractor for us on certain jobs out at the stack. He couldn't make it, so I was going to have Pam Young, who is the lead, as we sell these really awesome commercial, these luxury super lofts out there for all the cars. Text me at 4:30 and can't make it, so we're going to do a little bit of a different show. We always open up with a little something related to entertainment or sports that has a real estate tie-in, but this one doesn't. But I want to talk about it. Joe Lombardo, do you see the video?
Oh yeah, in fact, we played it a little earlier today on
Kevin Wall?
on Kevin's show. Yeah.
So Joe Lombardo, he got pulled over. A sergeant pulled him over. They've got the dash cam video. And they leaned in. Now, I can tell you this. You're not supposed to have undue influence. You're not supposed to use your badge to get out of things.
That's right.
And he said, I'm Joe Lombardo. Right? It kind of reminded me of that movie where he goes, my name's Jeff. He goes, I'm Joe Lombardo. He goes, I pulled you over for, and he goes, I know. He said, I pulled you over for.
Yeah, I know who you are.
So what did he do? Was it a rolling stop? It ran through a light a little bit. But I got to tell you, two things. I didn't think it was a great look the way he said I was Joe Lombardo. He used to be the sheriff. Likeable guy, I think. I actually met him on January 3rd. I got a great invite. Got an invite to the 250 most influential people in Las Vegas. I don't know how I got on that invite. I was probably there to be the busser, but somehow I showed up in a suit. But I met Joe Lombardo. Shelley Berkeley was there. Met Derek Stevens. There was so much security for him, by the way. Metro all over the place. Plain clothes. With him, but nice guy, likable guy.
I saw him at a Golden Knights game before he was a governor over there.
Having a libation?
Yeah. Up there, grabbing a cold beverage.
But I got to tell you, he's up for re-election. He should have known he was on camera. He was the sheriff of all things. And for him to say it came off a little arrogant. And you know what's funny? A movie theater, what is the Beverly? It's downtown. If you walk in tonight and say, I'm Joe Lombardo, they're actually giving you a free ticket. They're playing off as a comedy to do it. But, people look at it, and this is the do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
My son, my 22-year-old son, UNLV, Eagle Scout, CCW, 4 years at UNLV. He just finished he's testing at the academy level. He's just weeks away from joining the academy for Metro. I'm hoping he'll see that video and think about things. People get to power and they do certain things that they may have not done. They get comfortable. He's the governor. He's a very powerful guy. I just didn't think the way he said it. I wish he just would have said a little different because it certainly came off as arrogant.
He did. I mean, the officer said, yes, I know who you are. I'm Officer so-and-so, and, the reason I pulled you over. And that's when Joe Lombardo interjected. He says, I'm Joe Lombardo.
Right.
Didn't let him finish the sentence.
Well, then he said, I know who you are, right? They pull their tags when they go over. Typically, they're running the plates unless it's an emergency, seeing who it is and such. And then he said, come on, man. And he let him go with a warning.
Which is not uncommon. The police officials were saying the same thing. I mean, they let people off from a ticket thousands of times a month, really. I mean, when you combine all the officers and they're not going to arrest or cite every single person that they pull over. No. There is discretion.
So I'm wondering how bad he ran the red light where he said, I'm going to pull over the governor. We do have the World Series of.
I think it was at the same light that I turn right on every night when I leave the radio station here.
So when they get you, they're going to say, I am Jim Dallas.
Yeah, and that won't do anything. So
Get you too far.
I don't know who you are, and here's your citation.
By the way, we appreciate Tycor Title. I just was at a house. I like to say addresses. I think sometimes people say things and they don't really do it. I've got 10334 Jade Point. 1.425 is going to be our closing price million. And I was just over their house. They're getting ready to move to Oceanside, and they said, by the way, we're so happy that you use Tycor Title. They've got different disbursements. And they're like, Monica is so friendly and so wants our business, and we really feel good about it. We bought multiple houses, never had a better experience. Appreciate Marcy at the front. Always treats me like a king. I always feel good when I go. Help me with all my I feel that way when I go. World Series of Poker just wrapped up. You have to get some numbers. I always like to tie these sports things into the real estate and the economy. When I talk about the NBA, I don't really like the politics of the NBA. I like what it's going to do for our business.
Here.
But the World Series of Poker, biggest purse ever. Everybody now that just came out of this final group goes into the final. So what they're doing now is they played the Horseshoe. They played at Paris. Now we're down to the final. Everybody that shows up is a millionaire, right? They get a millionaire.
That's right.
They win a mill. It's going to be in 3 weeks from now, the first week of August. It'll be at Paris. It's televised. Gives these guys a chance to group. They look who they're playing. $10 million for playing cards on that first prize.
Not a bad way to make a living. I mean, these guys are professional when you reach this level. And I think the numbers were down just slightly this year. Usually they have about, 10,000 people.
It was 9,208 people that paid their $10,000. What I like, it's over 100,000 room nights, and it's got about $145 million in throw-off for the Vegas economy. We're always talking about what things are good. There's so much news that is negative, and I'm a realist. I'm a pragmatist. If something's not right, I don't always say it's sunshine. You should always buy. You should always sell. But this is good things. The NBA Summer League is about to wrap up. Today's the 15th. It ends on the 19th. This one is probably the most consequential in the sense behind the scenes of it is because the NBA, all the heads of state, these are kingmakers that make the NBA. So we got Bob Iger from Disney fame with a billionaire Foley. We've also got the Vegas Jack Group we've talked about, which is the one you and I personally probably would like to see because they're probably going to buy the site that we're sitting in right this minute to build this amazing facility, which has something that no other NBA team or NFL team that I know of in the country has, access directly to the airport. They're going to build a tunnel right at the gas station here at Shell. They bought the land.
Because we're literally across the street.
$30.3 million. 2 weeks ago it closed. They'll go under there. They'll be able to whisk dignitaries, head of state. We've had Secretary Treasurer Bessett in here with 12 Secret Service guys on the Kevin Walsh Show. We had to drive them around. Here, they go straight from the plane under here. I think it'll make it a real crown jewel.
From where you're sitting, you could probably look out the window and see some planes which are parked out there.
I'm looking at Chief. Yep, I'm looking at some Gulfstreams right now. I love it. We love the location. We can see the A's. I'm going to talk about the A's in just a minute. Oh, my gosh.
Season tickets.
Let's talk about Formula One for a minute. And I'm a race guy. We sell the world's coolest race car track house we put back on. We're selling the ultra-luxury car condos. I'm a licensed, bond-insured supercar dealer. I was former owner of Italy Service, right? I drove all these Ferraris and Lambos. I love the cars. Formula One, people may like it, may not. However, they just signed a big deal. You see that? They came out. So the Las Vegas Visitor Authority signed a $100 million deal. They're literally paying them $10 million per season to continue to promote it. And when we always talk about traffic count being down on the Strip, it is good to see that there are some things to bolster our economy. I will tell you this. I'll bet my bottom dollar. While we may have the ebbs and flows, the up and downs here and there, the trend line is going to be up and to the right when it comes to property values going forward, which is not necessarily a great thing if you're trying to buy. We know you always, one thing with Kent Broadcasting, KMZQ, we always talk about real estate in the morning, right? We've had 2 months of all-time record highs. We know affordability is down, but if you don't buy now, it's going to only go up. It continues to go up. We're fighting the highest rates right now. We were at 6.6 average rate on a 30-year. And the prices continue to go up.
Well, you're talking about the Speedway, the Formula One, and what is it? They have an economic impact of something like $1.3 billion.
So put that in perspective. So I was
than the Super Bowl was.
I took I hosted the Kevin Walsh Show last Thursday. You and I did it. Kevin was on vacation. We had Bobby Kahn on, and I like a lot of things he says. A lot of things I agree very much with him. I disagree though on the Formula One. He goes, "Oh, it's not this great thing for the city." It actually is. When we had the Super Bowl come here, they figured the economic impact was somewhere in the range of around $900 million. It's the Super Bowl; it's huge.
Right.
Formula One the first year was $1.3 billion. They put $550 million and permanently bought the paddock, but it's bringing in revenue. And yes, it's the high end revenue. But we have a concrete show, we have SEMA, we have something for everybody. And these are all things when you're thinking about buying or where to invest, it's going to continue to go. And we go to the luxury market. Go in, Jim.
And I think the only negative to that is that a lot of these hotel casinos are now catering to the upper echelon as opposed to the average guy making $55,000 a year, and he comes here for a weekend on vacation.
How can you come here on $55,000 a year?
Yeah,
I mean, you remember we're old enough to know when $55,000. Even Roy, worked in the mill years and done it. Families used to be able to work in the 80s. One guy would work in a mill. Roy and I grew up in Southern Oregon. Guy would make $40,000-$50,000 at the mill. His wife stay home. He have a Bayliner ski boat.
Yeah,
everything was good. $55,000
right.
Now you can't even get out of bed for it. I mean, everything is so darn expensive. Lots of things I like about Trump, and he keeps saying that there's no inflation. We got a lower CPI today, which is the Consumer Price Index. We still see rates are stubbornly high. And while the inflation was a little bit lower, gas prices, you and I talk about gas on the show, it's a big indicator. One of the biggest things
I'm looking at oil
inflation.
prices right now, $79. So it's still under 80. That's good.
I'll talk about the things I like with him. I hate that every day he goes, we almost have a deal with Iran. We have an ideal. Remember the parable about the boy that cried wolf so many times? At some point, it's like he cried wolf. The wolf's coming. The wolf showed up and ate all the sheep. Don't tell us every day that it's happening in this. And I think part of it's the short term. It's like it sounds good when you say it 27 times in a row and we continue to bomb the heck out of each other. I wish he would not. It takes away from his credibility.
Well, I think what the memorandum of understanding was all about was kind of a litmus test. And are they going to actually live up to this obligation? They proved that they couldn't because
they're understanding. What a joke! Yeah. Iran has never lost a war, never won a war, but never lost a negotiation. Remember back in the good old days with Japan, we made them absolutely surrender on the deck of our thing. I don't love the war. I wish it was over. But this whole time we're saying the ceasefire. How does it relate to real estate? Fuel prices are high. This is inflationary. About 130 days ago, we were at a 5.99% average rate. We talked about his best rates in 2 years. Spring market was a dud. We're coming out of the season. Rates are high. Now, we've been busier than ever because we do certain things, but rates are way up there, guys. It is absolutely a headwind. And by the way, going back to politics, because we're going to talk about the 21st Century Road to Housing Act in our second segment and what it is that Trump did not want to sign it. I got to tell you, I did not like that because it had bipartisan support and is going to pass anyway unless he vetoed it. And so he wanted to do it because of something else.
That's right.
However, it was kind of like, if you don't do this, I'm not going to do this. I wish he just would have signed. I think it'd be a little bit better look. I think people look back. It's always the people that are on the fence. It's not the people that are on the far right, far left. It's that 10% in the middle that has those things that are like me. But I'm a bit of a libertarian on some things. There's some things that are democratic that you'd be surprised that I'm like, okay, I'm with that. However, I just didn't like it. It's law now. We're going to talk about it in our second segment coming up. But
Trump is leveraging what he has. Hey, I'm not going to sign anything unless you get this the SAVE Act passed. So.
But it didn't have enough teeth in it because it went ahead and passed. It just went into law on Saturday. We are going to talk about it. We're going to run up on a break now. We appreciate you listening. Thank you to Ticor Title as our partner. This is the Richard Husel Real Estate Hour. We're back on the Richard Husel Real Estate Hour, live on the Strip. Co-host Jim Dallas, my buddy and partner, back with Italy Service, the rateprogram.com, who I use for everything. And I got my buddy Roy Branham. Got a little bit of unusual situation. You're a broker up in Oregon. I'm a broker in Oregon. I've known you many, many moons. You're a little over 50. You're right at 50. We've been friends with you 25 years. You and your wife, and you're happily married, and you actually moved. You're actually living with us now. And I want to talk about this situation because this is really where we're moving forward people say, you got your own radio show. You're doing some good things. You're doing stuff I've never heard in real estate. You and your wife, you said, you know what? Richard's got the most unbelievable real estate system. You formally retired. You worked 50 years old, 27 years.
27 years at the mill, yes.
You filed for formal employment. You actually got a nice six-figure retirement check coming up pretty soon, after your wait-out period. You've moved in here. You're staying with us 3 weeks. You're getting ready. You're going to buy your own place and that. You're all in with real estate.
Yeah. I burned the boats in Oregon.
Burn the boats. I made a
meme.
What is burn the boats? It goes back to Columbus. They brought everybody here. Burn the boats means we burn them. We're all in. We're never going back. We're moving forward. And you actually did it. And I didn't tell you to do it. I said, you're like, no, we're going to make this happen. So you're helping us on this segment. We are going to talk about this 21st Century Road Act. I've said this lots of times. Kevin Walsh show, on our show here, we do it. So many people, I'm always reading headlines like you, Jim, right? I send you things in the Babylon Bee. So you read the headlines. We talk about statistics and how they're so easy to shape. You read certain headlines, you go, oh, this is what it is. Like, for example, 2 years in a row of the all-time high record price high here in Vegas. So when I talk to people, and I talk to them, smart people, I got attorneys, doctors, they go, we're all-time record highs. We must have great sales. No, we don't. We have a very skewed. We have fewer sales, higher days on market. However, we're the top 5 markets for luxury year over year. We're up 16% May and June from last year. So the people over this bifurcated market means the tale of two cities. Below a certain dollar amount, we're still slow, right? It's much more of a buyer's market. But I've got multiple houses over the million plus. I have a 5.5 million active. We got multiple people. These people are less subject to the stresses of inflation. They've got cash. They got good money. God bless them. They're actually buying up and they're moving here to Vegas. What do you think, Jim?
Well, I have noticed that, a lot of cash deals are going on. And I don't know if that's good or bad. It doesn't seem to be fair to a guy that's making his first purchase.
Well, let's go back to this with cash, because when I was younger and newer, I used to, oh my gosh, it's cash. Oh my gosh, it's cash. Yeah. It's not really cash. They're putting money in the account. They're wiring it. We're actually down a little bit than when we were a few years back, about 27% of the sales. But think about the times, guys, you've had a nice wad of cash and you go to buy something. You want to choose somebody down. Yeah, I got cash. The reality is it mattered in 2008, 9, and 10. You couldn't get a mortgage to save your life. Nowadays, cash is less important. And what I mean by that is the only real things that a cash is the advantage is you don't have a loan contingency. You don't have an appraisal contingency because their cash is the offer. But the reality is if you're well qualified and you do it, you can get a loan in 2 weeks. I wouldn't even give away $10,000 for a cash deal if I had other offers. Now, if it's your only offer, I would. So when you hear about cash, don't give away all your money. When it was hard to get underwritten, it's hard to get money, it was not available. Money's very available. We're talking about FHA. VA's closed, by the way. If you've heard negatives about VAs, you're wrong. VA loans always will close if the buyer wants to close if they have a real approval. Don't give away that cash. Let me go back to you, Roy. So you're in. We're doing things now. We're going to talk about our property management, what we're going to do that absolutely nobody is. And by the way, I'm subsidizing this. We're going to do something, our one call we handle all, where we include all the boxes, the packing materials, the move, all these extra things that we've done, the repairs. We'll even front $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 on certain situations and take it out of escrow. The other repairs we take care of. We're doing the same thing in property management. I've got a little bit of a stress on this. We're going to talk about our property management. We're including all the repairs other than materials moving forward. We're including a maintenance program. We're going to give you one set price. You only pay those extras. We're going to maintain your house 4 times a year. Once a quarter, we're going to go over and do maintenance. If you have a garbage disposal go out, you call us. We fix. I don't charge you anything. No service call where you only pay for the garbage disposal. We got the water heaters. I've got pre-negotiated price with a plumber, $999 to $1,300. Depends on the size. Depends on if it's gas or electric. Go get an emergency a plumbing repair on a water heater. It's $1,600, $1,800. And if you're unaware of this, you're required to have a permit. So we're doing it. We've got our discount on our ACs. We'll beat any price by 10%. But you came down for all that. And now you're going to be a little bit of a radio host. You got a face for radio just like I did.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm excited to be down here. It's a great opportunity.
So you worked 50 years, 50-ish. You worked 27 years at the mill.
27 years at the mill. It was only my second job I ever had.
So what you and I did is when I was the paper millionaire, like many of us were pre-market crash, I had multiple homes. I had lots of heavy equipment. I fixed and cleaned houses, fixed properties, cut down hazardous trees. I was a licensed, bonded, insured contractor. We both had dualies. We both had trucks. We did a lot of hard work.
A lot of hard work. And now we're reaping the rewards.
We're reaping a few rewards.
We're willing to
do
things that we're willing to do things that nobody else will do for our clients.
I did all that when I transferred it to real estate. My first deal that I really was a big deal. I had this unicorn deal. I got the buyer. I got the seller. I sold the house. They bought it. This was in a busy time coming up. And then they bought a brand new house with me. And it had a lot of money on the line for this deal at the time. And the deal went south Memorial Day weekend, some 10, 12 years back. And I couldn't point to anybody else going wrong because I was the agent on both sides. Now, the reality was from the new home builder, and the lady had lost her job or quit her job before Memorial Day weekend. And so they didn't close. Well, they were going on vacation. They started summer for school. The lady had a meltdown, and I said, I got to go into action. My boys were shorter than me. I got my boys involved. I rented two 26-foot U-Hauls. I got the cleaners, took care of absolutely everything. I spent the whole weekend getting it up, parked the U-Hauls back to back in front of the new house. I met the contractors after the weekend, and it was like 3 days of stress. And later, everybody said, you know what? I've never had an agent in my whole life ever put the effort into trying to help me. And that's where the seminal moment where I came in and said, I'm going to buy the trucks. I'm going to take care of this. 11, 12 years later, we're doing hundreds of millions of dollars in sales, and I'm pretty grateful for that,
that's
Jim.
Why you're a top 1%er in the entire country.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Yes, I kind of am a little grateful for that. I work kind of hard, but we're applying that to property management. We're going to tease this next segment. The 21st Century Act, the Housing Act. Let's talk about what this is. Infamously, or famously, if you want to say, Trump said he was not going to sign this. Now, this had significant bipartisan support.
Yeah.
Trump said, this is a yawn, quote, yawn. He goes, it's really not going to change the needle. A part of it is not going to change the needle. We talk about 350, one owner can only own 350 homes. I have Richard Husel, Concierge Home Services, LLC. I've got Blue Sky Handyman Services, LLC. I've got Richard Husel, Supercars Brokerage, LLC. You can set up an LLC in a day. It's not a biggie. So if we have enough money between us, we have 350, we can set up a new one. That in itself is not so big. But what is new is they're trying to streamline the building process. And we've talked about Boxable last week, where you can actually have pre-approved plans and actually cut down on the build time. When we talk about build time, talk about
you can get your pre-approved designs from the HUD department, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is totally new. They haven't been able to do that before.
So we talk about pre-approved plans. So when you go through this building process, depending if you're a builder, you got a plot plan, then you got a plat plan. You got to get these all approved. They take all the different sites, they look it over, and they look it over. They're saying that you can pre-submit these out. This new plan is to expedite this process, cut down the lead time. And by the way, when you talk about the lead time for new houses, we talk about carrying costs. Now, we're selling the stack. We've got a $90,000 a month carrying cost. Every month it sits, that's the money you got to spend for these. So if we can actually shorten that time, that can cut down on the actual cost and get us back into some affordable housing. We talk every day. Now, tomorrow I'll be on the Kevin Wall Show with you. We talk about the affordability or the lack thereof. If you can actually make the cost to the developer a little cheaper, that would really help, right? Or Vegas, you remember when it used to be actually pretty cheap to live in Las Vegas?
Absolutely.
Right? Gas was low, phones were low, insurance was low.
If you go pre-2015 or so, Las Vegas was very reasonable. You would be surprised. For a big city, just 10, 12 years ago, it was very affordable.
You know, you don't run your gas or electric too much 6 months of the year. Well, our prices have gone up about 50% since then.
Yeah.
Insurance, we lead the nation. Our house prices, by the way, we are significantly higher than multiple different states. Everything went up. So if we can cut some of these costs to the actual developers by speeding up the time, cutting the red tape, that is actually a good thing.
Well, we were talking about a guy making $55,000 a year. Well, 12 years ago, you could make $55,000 a year and still buy a house in this market.
It's $111,000 to buy the average house.
So twice as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about if HUD could pre-approve the Boxable?
So we talked about Boxable. We're going to talk about this at the end. So last week, this is something pretty big. We're going to talk about Assembly Bill 396 and how it can put some income into your pocket very easily. We appreciate you listening. This is Richard Husel, Real Estate Hour. We're back live, the Richard Husel Real Estate Hour, powered by Tycor Title. This was our goofy show. Everybody didn't show up on me. I took another vehicle and went and got the oil changed, and I left my show notes, and I left my iPad there, so we're winging a little bit. But we have two things just for fun we wanted to talk about.
What
Daylight savings time.
Yeah.
So every year, everybody says they want to do it. You and I have absolutely opposite views. Tell me about why you want it.
I like it.
The House just passed this.
Right. The House passed it. It still has to go to the Senate, and then, of course, if the Senate ever does anything, then it would go on to Trump for his signature. But I like the idea, considering my work schedule. I don't get up early. I usually get up around, 7:30 or so, sometimes 7 o'clock. So I'm not exactly a real early riser, and I don't get out of here until after 6 p.m., and I kind of like it when there's a little bit of daylight left in the day while I get out at 6 p.m. So this would extend that part of my day.
I'll tell you the carve-out I would like is that for the month of December, they keep it where it is. I love that it's dark at 4 and 5 o'clock. The Christmas lights are on. I had lunch yesterday with Santa Joe. We're collaborating through the rest of the year. We're doing some incredible Christmas things. We do things, pictures with Santa. We have hundreds of people come out. We go all out on it. We buy incredible we've got great stuff. We love it. I want it dark. I want to see my darn Santa lights early. I want to see all that. I don't want it to get dark at 6 o'clock. I want it dark at 5 o'clock.
But the days are shorter.
Think about being the kids.
If you look at that time of the year, the day is probably at least another hour shorter anyway.
Sure, it's the winter solstice, which means we got a little bit more got more dark than there. Yeah. Kids going to school, I got to tell you, and kids are very light sensitive. In Chicago and other states, they've changed it where the kids actually get up a little later. They find out that they're very photosensitive in their growing stages, in that they're going to be getting up and going to school when it's absolutely pitch black and it's still 7 in the morning.
This subject comes up every single year.
This is the first time.
People always have the same arguments. It messes up with their circadian rhythm.
Well, I'm the only one that says I care about it for Christmas time. But the reality is it actually passed the House. Now, the way it works, it goes over to the Senate. We'll see what the Senate does. And there's some reasons. I read something today said they didn't. I want to talk one more thing. We are so close to the A's Stadium. Right, we're at $39.99 Las Vegas Strip. We're in great view of the A's on time to actually be playing in just about 20 months from now, opening day. Bally's introduced. They came out 2 days ago and said we have all our money. So what happens? They have these stage to release public-private money to come through. They've actually come up with the next sense, which is great. It's moving forward nicely. But I met with Santa Joe yesterday. We had lunch at Zippy's right down by Rainbow. He went in. He's like, hey, I thought I'd be able to buy regular season tickets. Have you seen those things on Instagram or Facebook? It says $19, reserve your ticket.
I've seen the ads for $19. I have never clicked on to that, but what happens when I do?
Let me tell you what baloney that is. So all the club levels, all those are out. They're doing seat tickets to buy. The level right now, the lowest price you could buy right now for 2 tickets, $20,000 per seat for seat licensing. That's $40,000. 80 home games, $250 per seat. So 500 times 80, what's that? $40,000. The lowest you can buy seats, and you prepay your first year, is $80,000. Wow. Now those are premium seats and all, but. Yeah. $80,000. Now you can make some payments on it, but it's sizable.
The 80 includes the 40 that you put up.
Yeah, so you own your seat licensing. What you do is you put it. And then, by the way, Moreno is somebody who actually makes a living selling these tickets. And if you've got a good season, right? If you buy a lower price, lower product, and you're able to get a little arbitrage to be able to buy something low and sell it high, there it can work out. But you think you're going in to buy baseball. We just went a month ago. We just went and saw the Athletics, not the Aviators. It was $15 for walk-in tickets. Yeah. They're talking about $80,000 to buy a season ticket. Of course, you've got.
But you can resell those.
You can if you want to be a full-time person selling tickets, but it seemed pretty pricey. I want to go back to this 21st century bill. You see this bill; it's going to be bipartisan support. It's supposed to help President Trump said it is a yawn was his exact quote. It says it's not going to do anything. Let's talk about that in a nutshell. More housing supplies. I think this is a yawn. It's basically saying any one corporation cannot more than 350 homes. We know after COVID, 25% of all the homes in Las Vegas, in North Las Vegas, are owned by corporations. But here's what is the good things. They're allowing to do the builders. Tell me about this, Roy. It's going to limit. Let's talk about the manufactured housing and the speed up through HUD. Talk about it in a nutshell.
Well, it allows the Department of Housing and Urban Development to pre-approve the design plans and speed up residential construction.
So we went out to Boxable. We took the tour there last Wednesday. We've been talking about this Assembly Bill 396. It is the biggest gold mine that you may not have heard of. What it's allowing you to do, even if you're in Summerlin, different areas, it'll find let me get to the teeth in this bill. It'll fine municipalities or HOAs $5,000 that don't allow you to speed it up. They're saying you got to expedite this as affordable housing. You can't use it for short-term rentals. So say you've got a home. Let's do some round, easy numbers. Got a 10,000 square foot lot. We have something called lot coverage. Maybe you've got what's called 70%. It says you can't exceed 70% of square feet. So you take 3 feet off the edges. You bring this down. And maybe you got a one-story in the house. It's a 3,000 square foot house, 2,000. You can easily build one of these pre-made homes. What happens with Boxable in California, and I'm a broker, I'm a licensed in California, they're allowing you to go over there. They've pre-approved these for California. You can drop these in your backyard. They can be set up in 6 hours from the time you have your pad and your electric. These have higher energy efficiency than a traditional home. Very low energy costs. We use the Sears method, SEERS. It's an efficiency rating. It gives you income. So we're working on a program. We got Tycor working on identifying many proms, thousands of homes for us. This is a product that you can actually take and say, you know what, I'd like to have a little extra income. I've got some equity in my house. I don't have any extra cash, but I got a little home equity loan. You can buy one of these for around $700 a month all in. They very easily are rent for $1,300 to $1,500 a month with almost no effort. Maybe you build this house out and sell them. They're doing this in Oceanside, Southern California quite a bit. They're also doing them up in Seattle area. There's a guy that's very well known in real estate. If you follow this, one of the most followed guys, he's like, you can almost double your property value by buying these. We're identifying properties for you. We can help you out with this whole process. We can even help you with the property management. Say you don't live in the house. You've got a property right now, and you're like, I'm not really bringing in enough money. This sounds pretty good to me, right? I got a little bit of equity. I don't have a lot of money. I've got decent credit. I'll take out a home equity loan for 80%. I can even put it on a credit card. A little arbitrage. I got $700 a month to buy this place, and I can bring in $1,300, $1,400 a month, and you can have this set up in a lead time. And this goes back to the 21st century bill. These new rules are saying it's not affordable to live. There's only so much land, the lead time. This allows you to build something quick, gets rid of the short-term rental incentive on that. It's very prohibited on these to bring in more affordable housing. We're going back to, how cheap it used to be to live here pre-2015.
Yeah.
It is unaffordable. And listen, I feel for people that are only making 50, 75, 100. I say only, right? They used to feel like real money. And now
exactly. You have to make $111,000 to qualify for a loan.
Basic house. Right. Yeah. For a basic FHA house, it just is not there. And guys,
how much of a down payment would you have to have on that? If let's say you're right at that line, $111,000
to buy. If it goes, so when they talk about what it is, it's always the average price in a given valley. So when you hear about California, this is $231,000. It's based off that $812,000 average price. So it's based off of $490,000. You can qualify for FHA. You need a 3.5% down.
Okay.
So let's just round that up to $500,000. You need $10,500 down. Mm-hmm. Not too much. You don't even have to have very good credit. You can have a 620, 640 score and only have that down. Pretty affordable. And now you can ask the seller, say, hey, you know what? Your house is taking a little long to sell. You're up against it. We are in a little bit more of a buyer's market. You can even ask to have them rebate you some of that money towards your closing costs. I think we're running up on a little break. When we come back, I want to talk about property management. All the calls I get are people that are trying to make some money with their house and do something, right? Working class folks, right, that listen to our radio shows, listen to AM 670, KMZQ, and said, you know what, I can actually use a little extra money. Times are tough. We're going to talk about it when we come back. We appreciate you listening. This is the Richard Husel Real Estate Hour. We're back on the Richard Husel Real Estate Hour. live in the Las Vegas Strip. Their partner, Ticor Title, absolutely the best title company. Guys, all the prices are about the same for title. I know they're not collaborating, but they're all about the same. Use the company that is going to give you the best communication. They're going to get you your money the quickest. They're going to give you the most answers and help you. It is who we use. We use them in other states as well. Ticor Title, that's who we partner. We're talking about affordable housing. We just saw this today, but Roy's a big-time golfer.
Yeah.
You live on the Palmdale.
I'm a hacker.
So, yeah. I say I shoot about an 80. People are like, wow, that's pretty impressive. I said I do about an 85 on the back nine. So
yeah,
I get good exercise. It's like you're paying all that money. I get to golf twice as much as you for the same money.
That's right.
We just had a closing, and it's not just a few hundred homes. It's 1,500 affordable houses.
Yeah, it's about a 100-acre. The course is Desert Pines Golf Club, and it's near the intersection of Bonanza and Pecos. And what they've done is they've sold that property, the city did. They're going to build 1,500 affordable homes in that area. So that should be interesting.
The reality is, and the news can be so confusing. The reality is we have more people moving here than are leaving. We know up in Reno, but here in Vegas in particular, people are certainly moving here. There's only so many homes. And they're going to continue to go up. What's up, Jim?
They say about 400 of those homes are going to be put up for sale at market value, and there's going to be about 1,100 units which will be offered for rent, according to the developer.
Yeah, so we need to have some of those houses that you can afford. You know, we're about ready to sell a house up in South Lake Tahoe. You see the municipalities coming in and say, no, we don't want any short-term rentals. It's pushing these employees out. And here's the thing: is it's so unaffordable to live now.
Yeah.
You make under $100,000. You got to struggle. You're cooking your lunch. You're pinching every penny, and that used to be money you live on. So having housing that is affordable, working 2 and 3 jobs, not necessarily that fun. I've done it a lot of years in my life. I get a little traction now where things are good. So it's good to see some of these projects actually come on board. We were just talking about. Let me give it a nutshell about our property management. So you talk to a regular agent, you call them and say, hey, I'm thinking about renting my house or selling my house. They have you come over. If all they do is make money when you sell, they're going to always tell you it's the best time. So we're licensed property managers. We do commercial. We come and give you a rent analysis. What does that mean? Maybe mom's moving out of her house. She's in her senior ages. You might need that income. Maybe you want to defer it. Maybe you're putting off taxes. Whatever your particular situation is, we can help with that. So maybe as a property manager, let me come over and show you what you can actually bring in, what it's going to cost you, and what you can do. But here's the thing, guys. Property management, you're having a rental, you're doing it, sounds good. And then what happens? The AC breaks. Garbage disposal goes out. You'll have a house, it'll go 5 years, everything's good, and it breaks. I have somebody I met on the Kevin Walsh show, current client, great guy, do multiple things with him. In fact, I got an investment with him, a significant investment going with him right now. He bought a house. Now, his dad passed away, and nobody lived in it for 2 years. He was too devastated to do anything. Guess what happens? All your O-rings and all your toilets, they shrink out because you haven't run the water.
Right.
So if I have a vacant home, we have a checklist that we do. We actually go over and run every single faucet, flush every toilet, and turn things on during these rental times. If we have an extended, we even do a short cycle on the washer.
Yeah, they say you do that with cars, too.
You know, the cars, right? We're car guys.
Yeah,
you got to run it.
You got to run it at least once a week. You know, it's an extra car, but yeah, still, you have to give it a little TLC.
So we give this thing, so we do it. So he got this house. Everything went out. Washer went out. Dryer went out. Yeah. Dishwasher went out. Fridge even went out because it was sat so long. We started getting leaks and things. The house looked great at the outset, right, when we did it and do it. So the property management, what we are doing, if you are doing it yourself, there are new rental rules, lots of ways to get sued. In property management, it's the number one way to get litigation is be a property manager. They love you right up until they get the keys. Then they call you for absolutely everything. We have a license in-house handyman business since 2018, Blue Sky Handyman Service LLC. I'm a single member LLC. We're going to take care of all of that for you. And we're doing it up. So we're actually pre-negotiated our water heaters. We're going to beat your water heater price by 30%. You got 48 hours to get hot water. It's called habitability. If you don't have somebody, so we've had Boiling Point, friend of our show that's on, partner moving forward, HVAC, we've got pre-negotiated deals. So we're doing a maintenance program, an invasive maintenance. What does that mean? They actually take it off, wash your coils. They're checking your furnace and getting your house doing. We're paying for that all inclusive. And by the way, I'm subsidizing this. Until I add about another 115 doors, I'm losing money, but I'm all in. I think having this ultimate property management, if you have a property management company, let me tell you what happens right now if you have it. Your tenant has a problem. They call a 1-800 number and they hit AI. You know why? That property manager is making money. They're not taking your call at 10 o'clock at night. I promise you not. It's going straight to a line and they're doing it. Then it gets funneled to somebody and they're not taking care of you. They're sending it to somebody else. They're making their money. They're getting their 10 or 15% markup. They're not your partner in this. When you do it with us, you're calling me. Tenants actually have my phone number. We take care of it in-house. So if that garbage disposal goes out, I've already got it done. We're including it. The labor's included. You just pay the regular cost. No baloney. Straight up on what we're actually paying. We're getting your service done. We're also doing 4 once a quarter. We're coming over your house and doing the maintenance. So I've got some new houses. I've got houses that are $6,000, $7,000 a month that are brand new in Ascension. They don't need anything right off, but if you don't maintain something, it doesn't. So we come over, spend 1 hour there. We show you everything we do. We do lube the garage door. We check locks, any little rattles. We change filters. We do battery checks. We give you a written confirmation of everything that we did on that inspection, or substitute it for an emergency visit. You got a sprinkler head, a drip line that goes off in there. You call us and take care of it. So we're licensed, insured. We have 3 new box trucks. We also pre-negotiate the AC. I'll tell you what, you're barely breaking even on a rental. The AC goes out, right? Every 13, 15 years it goes out. It's 10, 12,000. It set you back 6, 7 years. With our maintenance program, we not only get you to the front of the line because we spend a lot of other people's money doing this, but we get you a discount. You can't beat it. 10% off your best rate. We actually negotiate for you. So what I mean by that is maybe you don't want to just take that one estimate, right? It's a lot of money. You're stressed. We do it for you so you don't have to be the bad guy. We'll call a couple other companies you like, get you the bid, and beat the best bid for you.
I have been here so long in Las Vegas. I remember the water coolers.
Yeah.
Remember the water coolers?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, people would have those up there on the roof. And
swamp coolers.
Yeah, the swamp coolers.
So
yeah.
I owned Italy Service. First thing we did, none of them were working. We have swamp coolers. My wife runs a 185,000 square foot building. I think they've got 25 of these. Water flows through the air and cools. Lower price because you're not using the heating supply. It's the electric and the fans. The key to those, you got to have the maintenance. What happens, they get lots of dust in them and things, and they start spitting water. So you got to work on them and clean them. But yes.
You don't see too many of those anymore.
You do in big industrial buildings. You absolutely do. You see them quite often. So in Italy, we had 3 up there. Dana just had Boiling Point add multiple different ones. So do you not see them as much? You do in industrial where they're working the guys out in the heat.
Right.
Imagine how much it would cost to do it. If you are doing property management, you want a better overall deal. Remember, you talk about everybody, first thing they ask is, what's your rate? That's one thing. Well, how about if I save you $2,000 on your AC or furnace, or what if I cut out your emergency expenses in there? Now your yield goes up significantly. So a lot of these do-it-yourselfers, they're not going to be able to do what we can do for you. We've actually been able to scale it. UFC. We had the biggest thing. So last week, we always talk about some sort of news story. The NBA, the Summer League is here. We've got the big people that are courting, wanting to do it. But the whole Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
My point on that is you saw a couple of videos after the fact, basically the autopsy of it.
Yeah.
And somebody placed a bet for $900,000 like 2 minutes before the fight on Holloway to win. They're saying that they saw the video where he took his flip-flop off.
I did see that.
And he went down and is very gingerly on his right thing.
He did.
And so what happens, we know it for sure in NFL, they got with the injury reserve. You have to declare it. They think it's not, I don't want to say ethics, but you know what I mean?
Right.
You have to declare it. But the fights,
they have to do that by Wednesday or Thursday for a Sunday game.
Vegas made great money, by the way. 93% of the bets were on him to win, and they lost. Vegas actually cleaned up on that real good. We appreciate Ty Court Title. They are our company. We've got new people coming on, but they are number one. Thank you, guys. Roy Branham, team. With me, Jim Dallas. I'll be on tomorrow, the Kevin Walsh Show at 1 o'clock. We appreciate you listening. This is the Richard Husel Real Estate Hour.